go. Oh, but alas, there was a moment in the second half where I thought it was going to happen, Tom, but it did not. Florida State basketball did not get the first ACC win of the year. Damn it, man, I was hoping.
I liked what I saw last night, though, especially in the half court. Competition on defense, that's a key thing I'm looking for. I know it's a basic, but I'm asking basic questions every single game. Obviously, we start out with a good run, but I was just looking to see how, even when Syracuse pushes back and they take the lead at halftime and they start well in the second half, I'm thinking, oh, boy, are you guys going to pack it in? That was probably an insulting question, but I think it's an earned question at this point. They did not pack it in. The thing that killed them last night, I thought, points off of turnovers, transition defense specifically. It didn't have to necessarily be off of a turnover. Just in transition, they got murdered last night by Syracuse. A lot of open looks and a lot of shots made by Syracuse in those specific moments.
100% get into the crooks of that and the discussion of that, and we'll do it this segment. Let's begin with the good news. Something that looked highly unlikely as of yesterday, according to sources, was that Kevin Wynn would be back. The reason for that, again, is the scarcity at the position of defensive tackle and the cost of defensive tackles and the money they're making right now in the portal. Guys getting in what I would view as the result of, again, scarcity in the market, a exorbitant sum in some cases to play college football. And the way that Florida State has trended, it had looked like a group that was in real trouble here. When you married that fact with the reality that the current climate in the building isn't good, that's self-evident when you have 44, how many people have entered the portal since it happened, since it opened up?
Yeah, some did the Reedy thing, but if you're just talking about overall intends to enter and all that, it's a big number.
A lot.
Yeah.
It's a massive number. Yeah. And that's, look, you're going to deal with this year in and year out for as long as the system's in place, but when you're dysfunctional and not winning and having some issues financially and your coach is perceived as, dead man walking, it's tough. It's tough to hold on to, folks. We've seen that. But the last couple, they have really made a concerted effort. It's interesting, too, to me, because when you listen to the reports coming out from that department, you got a lot of frustration with a lot of people about how it is Florida State finds themselves in this predicament. And so you're following trends and you say, boy, this is going to be a tough ask. Are they going to be able to hold on to the Sears and Kevin Wynn? Like, you start asking the question, are they going to be able to pay out that kind of money that we're hearing is being offered? And you know that there were some answers to that, such as it could happen, but it might cost you elsewhere and or long-term and or I don't know if anybody's going to step up in this situation from a percentage of your rev share number and all that other stuff. So you worry about it. I say all that to say this. They are keeping Kevin Wynn. He's coming back. That's a big number that he was going to be owed. The buyout number for the schools is proving to be a prohibitive cost. This is the first kernel of good news for college football fans who would like to see some semblance of contracts meaning something and an opportunity to hang on to players that you successfully recruit and you fight off all the others that wanted them at the time. You'd like to know that you're going to be able to keep people for more than a year and not just get leveraged to the hilt every year. These buyout numbers for some of these big name players are proving to be the reason that you're able to retain them. And that's huge.
Yeah. And that's been a through line since some of the earlier parts of last month when you saw guys, they're rumored to be entering the portal and then they declare intentions to enter the portal or their agency does. And they report that to, on 3 and to 24/7.
You're going to need to be quick draw McGraw today, man. I'm sick as a dog.
I can just go mute when I speak, but
yeah,
that feels
whenever
a little
you're
strange.
talking, it gives me a chance. You go for it, man. It's just I should have told you ahead of time. I'm so pissed off. Anyhow, go ahead.
Well, that's fine. We feel very congested as a football program as well right now. We're looking for good news. We just want to proverbially blow our nose and get rid of all the gunk that is this era of college football and the rees and are they going and are they not. But yes, that buyout cost, it's what you have to pay to get to the negotiating table in the first place. And what kids are finding out, I think, is that the next school, they've got the money to buy the kid out and bring him over. But for this upcoming season, you're going to make maybe the same, maybe nominally more, maybe nominally less. but you could be in a program like a Texas or an Ohio State or an Ole Miss or an LSU. And that's the question they have to ask themselves. Is it really worth it to up and move my life to another market to not really make any more money at all and start fresh on no promise whatsoever? Or do I just stay where I am and see what happens this year? And that's when the human part of it comes in. And I think a lot of people, when they're trying to make life decisions, say, well, that seems like an awful lot of trouble not to move up from an income standpoint. And that's where we are.
Yeah, especially when if you're competing. Look, obviously a lot of really good players go to places like Ohio State. But there are a lot of kids from the South, a lot of kids from Florida that are like, man, I'm not rolling out to play half the season in freezing ass cold if I don't have to, if all things are equal and my family's here. If you do have instances where that leaning, where you're like, I don't know, I'm not guaranteed to start. I'm going to freeze my ass off. I'm going to be a long way from home. I'm already making good money. Do I hate it here, or am I just mad that the situation hasn't gone the way I'd hoped? And is this just largely an agent-promoted thing? And in some cases, if the answer is yes to that, then, you have a tough decision, but you might want to side with sticking around another year.
Well, I think what's also happening is the market is realizing that if there was no buyout, hell yeah, you'd make an extra 20%, 30%, 40% over what you're making right now. But the buyouts do exist, which is where Easy Living with a question in here early. He says, I'm not being sarcastic, but why recruit 4 or 5 stars in the first place if wherever they commit, they will be in the portal next year anyway? Let's advance this forward. You now know, at least at this point, that these offset parts to the deal, the buyout parts, are being honored across the sport, and they're prohibiting movement.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what's going to happen, Easy Living, is next year, when you get to the table with rev share contracts that you're putting in front of kids, it's not just going to be how much can you pay me. It's what's that buyout number going to be? Because the university is going to want it to be big, but they might trade an extra year of a rev share deal, call it a 3-year deal instead of a 2-year deal, in order to ensure that the buyout provision is high and you be in a position like this if you're a player where you don't have as much leverage as you did before the house settlement. I think that's where this might be going.
It's the first time that you get some semblance of what takes place in real professional football or real sports. Like, contracts are honored. You sign them, you make money, your reward is you get paid handsomely. And oh, by the way, there are some teeth to these things now. You can't just willy-nilly decide through 5 weeks, this sucks, I don't like it, I'm leaving. No, you're not leaving scot-free. And the more and the quicker we get to this place, again, I'm all for players getting paid. I'm all for it. I got no problem with it. I do have a problem with sort of the willy-nilly inability to enforce and kids just coming and going whenever the hell they want, even those that just sign contracts.
This is where the game of chicken will take place in the future now.
Mm-hmm.
Is, look, you might be a $500,000 a year player and your buyout's $600,000. I'm just making these numbers up. This has nothing to do with current Florida State, guys. There might be a team out there that is willing to pay $600K and then they'll pay you 8 or 9. Like, you might be that special that you can get that deal. And so you should return to Florida State and say, they really have this. They're going to do this. I'd rather stay if you match it. Will you match it? That's fair. I think that's fair game, and that's part of the process. There was a question last night or a comment last night when I was doing the Smash, and it said a contract is a contract. Well, yeah, the buyout is a part of the contract. And if somebody wants to come in and pay that much money to go get a player from you, just like they do when they pry a coach away from another institution, if they're willing to foot that bill, then that is the contract. And you do have a right, if you're the player, to say, this is my legitimate value if Ohio State came and got me. What do you want to do about it? Nothing, because I'll leave. If you want to do something, okay, then let's talk and maybe I'll stay. I think maybe next year these processes might move a little quicker because we're seeing that the rev share has held up. We didn't know that 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago if it was going to.
It was a real fear that it wouldn't, and
the offset language.
Yeah, the offset language. Yeah, that we'd be in real trouble at that point. But hey, it did, and that's good news. And here we go. You get back a player that was filled with promise. We don't know how good he's going to be. He did not a thing in year one, hampered by injury for much of it, and that leads to a situation where they're attempting and thinking about the red shirt and things of that ilk, which is not very much in the modern parlance, right? You don't hear red shirts too often anymore, but when guys get saddled with injury, you sometimes protect the year. So you just didn't know with him. I mean, he made one tackle. So you got nothing from him last year. And it was just going to feel like a damn shame because that was a kid, again, highly touted, highly regarded. You had to fight like hell just to make him hold to his commit the first go around. And I don't mean that because he was iffy, but because the program was in shambles. And everybody was running the other way because, well, at the time that he committed, we had gone 2-10. We were losing people left and right. And so you fought your ass off to bring in a Kevin Wynn at a really big position of need. And you got nothing from him in year one. That's fairly common for freshmen in the trenches, but he was thought to be preternaturally strong. You had other players, veteran players, stating that claim. Hey, this kid's strong. Daryl Jackson told me in Charlotte, face-to-face during my interview, this kid's strong like I'm strong, and he's a freshman. This kid's country strong. This is different when he puts his hands on you. So when you heard that, you got excited for good reason. We're all looking for excitement, especially fresh off of 2-10. Hey, we got us a good kid. It's like when they went out and paid Cromall. You're thinking to yourself, okay, they paid big money for a big-time running back, and then they failed to use him because they had no rhyme nor reason to how they subbed their running backs game in and game out. Production didn't seem to really hold much value. A kid has a good game, got 2 carries the next game. Had a 16-yard carry, followed by a 16-yard carry, followed by good seeing you. Won't see you for 2.5 more games.
Or ever again. I love you because I miss you.
Yeah, so it was always crazy. And you just, come on, man, make it make sense. But here you got it. You got him coming back, and you'll get a chance to see it. Because, listen, you're thin there. He's going to play.
Yes.
He's going to play, and he's going to have to be a big part of what you do.
Yeah, conditioning will be a very important part of his offseason. He'll need to be in great physical shape. I see something from Dustin in the chat that I've been meaning to bring up. I wonder if you're hearing this, because I have. Southern Cal wants a roster of just about 70 guys. I kind of want that. Spend more money on more top guys. And then Christopher says, yeah, I don't see a need to run out 105. I've heard in a couple different markets, they're kicking around that idea. They haven't, fully fledged committed to it and how they work their rev shares. But 105 seems like an awful lot of bodies and a whole lot of rev share and NIL to spread around. Sounds like the big players are talking about consolidating their rosters down. You can go up to 105, but what's the point of maxing out at that limit? Especially for us.
I was just about to say, especially if you're Florida State, because you didn't have your ducks in a row and you don't have a treasure chest of money to spend in the NIL because you didn't prepare properly for it. So, you had to wear this portal loss. You had to wear the inability to attract top-tier market talent. You weren't in the market for a real quarterback. Not one that was amongst those that were going to make $2, $3, $4, $7 million. You weren't.
Well, and also 105 is going to get you 6, 7, 8 wins. I don't know. At that point, is that the most efficient use of your dollars as an athletic department? Mm-hmm. Not just as a football program, but as an athletic department. Do I really need to fill out 105 guys just so the football program can be this side of average? Maybe I could spend $1 million here somewhere else, and that puts us over the top and wins us a championship. That's the kind of conversation I wonder if it's going to get contagious. We saw how the general manager thing got contagious. It was novel in Oklahoma. It was novel to what Stanford was doing with Andrew Luck. And then suddenly, copycat sport, people were latching on and saying, well, maybe we should have this front office operation that's separate from the coaching staff. I wonder if we're going to get there at some point in the near future with, the 105 thing almost felt like it was a mea culpa to the walk-ons that were about to get squeezed out from the 85 days. We didn't want that to happen to those kids, but is there a reason, everybody, that we're maxing out at 105 here in football?
Because you can, and the reason you just gave is 100% the reason it happened. They were grandfathered in. You couldn't boot them. Yeah, the judge ruled that way.
Right, but just because that you're at 105 doesn't mean you need to stay forever at that number. Yeah,
sure, you don't need to. Yeah, and especially when you don't have the luxury. Like, it's not like you're just overflowing with cash. Keep him around. I kind of like Phillip. Practice is really hard. It's only costing us, $10,000. Keep him around. Let's see. No. Listen, we could divert that money, add it to so-and-so's king ransom here, and we'll be all right. That's one of the things that anyhow, you guys have been wanting it. Here you go. What a joy on a Balls McWednesday to sit down and say, I got some good news. one of the players that we're wanting to see play, that we fought like hell to keep, and that we hoped like hell we'd get to see him fulfill his promise, at least for the next year, is going to be playing football at Florida State. That's the lead. I know Florida State basketball lost. I mentioned it in passing in the opening. I didn't bear down into the numbers, which I'll do in a moment. But the lead is that you were able to get, once again, Kevin Wynn to come back around. That seemed, and I will tell you this is factual, that seemed highly unlikely just about 24 to 48 hours ago. So that's good news. It's really a win. Most of the things that we hear that are negative and trending negative and go in the wrong direction end up in the wrong direction. They end up being negative. They end up being things that you're hating to report. And this time around, came back around. We'll see about the Desirs as the day goes on as well.
Only in this era of college football, only in this era, can you feel like you gained something that you never lost.
Yeah,
technically.
Gained something by keeping a player that you already had.
Yeah, that never actually made it to the portal.
That sucks. The weird thing was his name was off the roster.
Yes. Now, that's happened with a couple of guys, which is why we were careful and proper to say that nothing is absolute in this time. Nothing.
It is strange. They like to move very quickly on players that they're likely not going to get back or they have a problem with. If they're perturbed with or there are some other issues beyond the money, those kids tend to fall off the roster pretty damn quickly.
Yeah.
Whereas the ones that they're hoping to keep and have no personal issue with, as in there were no transgressions, they tend to linger on the roster while the process plays out.
Yeah, I know that you talk to some folks. Maybe there's crossover between who we talk to. The Desirs thing has always been in touch. The Kevin Wynn, the Juju Wynn storyline behind the scenes was, well, that's a whole nother can of worms. That's a whole nother thing. That's as far as I could get. I was like, oh, that doesn't sound hot. But you never know. He puts out a statement on his own. You're like, you just never know where it's going to come from, good news or bad.
You're still dealing with kids. You know, they're given an option. Here's the deal. You're not going to make any more money when you go elsewhere. Another school's going to have to pay this and this. Do you really want to leave? No. Yeah, I guess I don't.
I got to hire movers. I got to change utility companies.
I guess I don't. I guess I don't want to leave. Here's the other part about the portal while we're on the subject. Friday's the last day you can put your name in. So this madness, as far as names going in, and if you're a diehard following this, you're on pins and needles because we've certainly had a flood of people do it. Not much longer, kids. Not much longer. Friday, that's it. That's all. No more names. You don't have to decide where you're going, but you do have to decide whether or not you put your name in the portal. So you got today, you got tomorrow, you got Friday. That's all you got. Good. I'm done with it. I'm not done with it in that I have to do a job, and we'll continue to monitor it and talk about it, and I'll report what I'm hearing, but I'm done with it. I'm done with especially now that they got Wynn back. I'm knocking on wood. I feel like the Desirs, that deal was, as far as I knew, pretty much done 48 hours ago. And somehow they can't, it's just there's dysfunction that continues to plague the organization.
That is true. There's also,
at
different points, if this thing had,
there are a lot of people involved in that.
Twists and turns. There's on the Desir side as well that would drive you up a wall.
I know it. There is some news on the Desirs that makes me laugh, and I'll tell you what it is next. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Injured? Call Basic Brooks and come back stronger. Offices, Tallahassee.
Barry knows cool. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool. You can give him to the chest. Barry knows heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable. Here's what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark TSparkConstruction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those dark leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark, TSparkConstruction.com.
License number CCC 1331204.
Services to call away.
222-7722. AC and electric is what we do. Service, repairs, and installation too.
222-7722. Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Invest in a Peak Performance membership and you'll buy peace of mind in knowing that you're extending the life of your system and probably saving money on your power bill too. The program includes comprehensive tune-ups that keep your system running at its maximum efficiency. And Peak Performance members get many benefits, including priority service. Members jump to the front of the line when their comfort system fails. And a 15% discount on all parts. The Peak Performance membership pays for itself over and over again. Call today and have peace of mind. And now offering electrical services too.
Parker Services. Conferences to call away.
Florida license number CMC 050334.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food, it's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín, authentic Peruvian, right around the corner.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
I'll never forget
that moment.
As long as I live.
My first call ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires. Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews. At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Florida National Guard. Aired by the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Just in the nick of time. A coughing fit ended as we came back on. That's a good thing. Yeah, hang in there with me, everybody. Florida State defensive lineman Mandrell Desir was named a freshman All-American by the Football Writers Association of America. That was announced today. Played in all 12 games. You know that. True freshman year, playing all 12 games at that position is a little unusual. 30 tackles, 7.5 for loss, 6.5 for sacks, forced fumble, pass breakup. Sacks and tackles for loss both led all ACC freshmen, and his sacks total was the third highest for a freshman in FSU history. Had at least a half a sack for 5 straight games. Longest for any FSU defender since 2016. Into the regular season ranked third nationally amongst freshmen in sacks, sixth in tackles for loss. Yeah, not bad. Top 5, top 10 tackles for loss, sacks for freshmen in the country. Woohoo! Now get him in the fold. Get him back in the fold and let's go. You know, the season opening win against Alabama, kid made 4 tackles. That's a lot for a true freshman playing in his first ever college football game against Alabama, the most for an FSU true freshman since 1977. 5 tackles and a sack against Clemson. Showed up in the games with the names. Played well. Seems like we should get him back. I did laugh that this was an official release from Florida State Athletics, and we don't know if he'll be back next year.
Hey, Coach, do I need to release this? Well, I mean, he's not in the portal.
That's just hilarious. You're reading that. You get excited. The numbers are the numbers. We saw it with our own eyes. You know he can play. You're like, oh, yeah. Oh, I don't know if he's going to play for us next year or not.
It's been a hell of a week and a half because that's how long it's been. It's been the longest month of my life because there is probably 6 or 8 points over the last week where everybody feels confident, feels like they're going to get to a place where they need to go. All right. I think once we put this in front of that side, that things are going to be okay.
We both know.
And then it's quiet, and then a day goes by. Hey, there's this. And then, all right, feels like things are in a great place. I mean, it has just been consistent in that regard, if nothing else. That
so while we're on the subject,
things are there, and then it just doesn't happen.
Well, while we're on the subject, I will say this: if you're just trying to read the tea leaves and check the warmth or coldness of a item here, wouldn't you agree that if you go back a week ago at this time, this felt pretty damn dire and feels a lot better now? If we're big picturing this, meaning, look, I'm not telling you they're back. I'm not telling you that it's done. I'm not telling you that I know for sure by the end of the week we get an announcement that they are coming back. What I am saying is that it was in a bad place a little over a week ago.
Yes, it had a bad night.
Oh, real bad night.
Yeah, where it felt like, I forget what night that was.
Well, I'm
Tuesday or Wednesday night.
Somewhere in there, right. And today's Wednesday. That's why
where things got dire, but then there was optimism the next morning when you wake up. It just has gone through this very sustainable, apparently, cycle of optimism, then delay, then despair, resignation, optimism, and it just repeats.
And if people knew,
and you don't really need the blow by blow of all that because it never got, at some point you realize when you're getting through these back and forth, you're saying, okay, well I'm sure what is being experienced in the negotiation feels real and is real to them, but does everybody need to know all of the blow by blows? Because it's been very similar many times now. So hopefully today's the day, but we've only got so many more days we have to wake up where we say, hopefully today's the day, and it actually is going to be where you're going to get resolution one way or another on this thing.
This particular case or negotiation, or whatever you want to call it, is very frustrating. One thing I'll say, you guys hear me talk a lot about, or at least express my aggravation with how non-buttoned up they've been over there and how they find themselves in this quandary that I believe there are people who disagree with me on this. That's fine. I'm right and they're wrong. That I believe this could have all been avoided. I'm not talking about the Desir twins. I'm talking about the predicament. Whether that's big picture or even micro. There are a lot of things that have just been done wrong and mishandled, and there was a lack of foresight. There's just been a lot of things that culminate, the confluence of those events, lead to these kinds of predicaments. It's not solely unique to Florida State that you're in a bind over a kid, whether you're going to keep him or lose him, because the portal's existence is for everybody, everywhere. And this is a bargaining tactic these days that affects all schools. So it's not a singular thing to see a kid, a snapshot, a moment, a negotiation, and say, well, what are you talking about, Jeff? This is happening in Gainesville. This is happening here, where a coach is in good standing, bad standing, somewhere in between. You see these instances everywhere. I'm talking about in totality, that a lot of this stuff could have been avoided if they had gotten out in front of any number of cases that we've had to talk about for the last, number of weeks. And the big picture conversation that I'm wanting to have more every day, as opposed to the micro conversations that we're currently having while we're in the midst of this portal window, is that here's what can't be. What can't be is that Florida State cannot be in this situation this time next year. You cannot be in a situation this time next year in which you are ill-prepared for a window and you are ill-prepared as a program to deal with the complexities of where college football is going, where it was always going, and where you're lacking and lagging behind. You cannot be in this position again next year. I think most people have come to accept that we're not up to speed. Let's just keep it really simple and not get into the details of all this. We're not where we need to be. We're not up. You hear me say this a lot. We are not operating at peak efficiency. I bring up peak efficiency a lot because when Florida State is operating at peak efficiency, they play for championships. You can't do that everywhere, although you can do it in more places now than ever before. When they're not, then what ought to be is that you struggle to win 10 games, not 6. What ought to be when Florida State is operating at peak efficiency or a notch below is that you are competitive in a substandard league, that you are not residing at the bottom of a conference looking eye to eye with Boston College's sorry ass in football. Like that ought not ever be the case. Really ever. Ever. And so when we get to this point next year, when we are sitting here having a conversation about what the football season looked like, what it was, what it means, what we're doing in the portal, what's possible in terms of acquisition and retention, we do not want to be talking about the kinds of constraints we're talking about now and the lack of foresight that we've identified heading into the portal 2-week period. Just get me out of that mess, get a handle on this. It doesn't guarantee you're going to be in the playoff. It doesn't guarantee you're going to win the conference. It doesn't guarantee that you're going to be back competing for championships the way we all want to. But you can certainly raise the floor beyond where we reside currently, and it doesn't take much to do that. You just have to have a clue.
It feels like that's been noticed in the last couple of months by more meaningful eyeballs than perhaps even the football failures themselves would have you notice that things were problematic. Meaning that we're here January 14, 2026. I feel like there's a real good shot that January 14, 2027, you have hope again because there are new structures in place, new personnel in the building. If it doesn't miraculously turn around on the football field.
That could mean a lot of things.
But it means freshness and newness. I think that I feel that way, that this is the last wave of this.
The last vestige of what?
Where you can walk out of this period and say, what did you do good? What did you do bad? What you did good was the buyout stuff. That language, that is something you take with you into next year's negotiating periods for the high school kids and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Good job. Everything else, no.
Disaster.
Can't be like that anymore.
So people will take that to mean when you talk about newness, either the head coach is gone and a new staff comes in and we're all refreshed because we all like that. Everybody wants to see where it goes when a new guy is hired, and or the athletic director's gone, or both.
I mean,
that's certainly something that can be inferred.
If you could place live odds on one or the other is gone this time next year, I mean,
you're betting on or.
Yeah, it's a big favorite, and you'll bet it. Yeah. I think that's the way this thing is going. But in this moment, we're talking about the Desirs. And that's where, across that negotiation, there are points at which you could blame both sides from the last week and a half. There are
the
points
Desirs negotiation?
Yes. There are times at which both sides are at fault. Individual moments where either side, you go, really? Really?
Yeah,
what the hell are you doing?
Tom, I think that's born out of the naivete of the big picture that we keep referencing. Look, you would have made this a no-brainer if you were buttoned up.
The problem is that a no-brainer could be verbally agreed to by the player in the player's camp, and then they walk into the office and they say, you know that no-brainer I said yes to? Why don't we throw a little cherry on top for an extra 10%? What do you say about that?
Sure. I'm not telling you there aren't people who are pains in the ass, especially the better the player, the more that happens. That's certainly what happens in an NFL negotiation. All negotiations involving players of real note. Sucks. What you don't want is a situation where a coach is involved in that evaluation discussion in bargaining.
I don't mind him being the closer after you've had terms agreed to, that everybody sits in the room together and they say, all right.
Oh, you welcome him in to shake a hand.
Shake hands, sign the paper. Love it.
But he can't be involved in the sit down, hey, what do you think of this? That doesn't happen in the National Football League. And if we're going to run this like we're attempting to run this as a professional organization, then your head coach isn't involved in a negotiation with a player.
But that's why when the three of them sat down last week, and it feels like a longer time ago than just a week ago, and Garrett has asked the question, even after Michael Alford said it in the opening statement that Mike Norvell will have all say in personnel decisions, when Garrett is asked directly, well, when it comes down to it, who wins? And he points across the table at Mike. That's your first indicator that, oh my, all right, this really is going to be a mess for this period.
But in fairness to really all involved there, I guess besides Alford, Garrett had no chance. He even said, I've been here 6 days. What do you want me to do? Which is not the answer that they would have preferred he give.
That's an all-timer.
But
what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
It's day 6. Still playing catch-up.
Hey.
A lot of names.
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
Yeah. The other part of that is
I told Mike, I said, hey, who is this guy? Is that the janitor? No, that's the guy we're evaluating right now.
What Gibbs?
Oh,
yeah.
Didn't know.
Yeah. So, no, he was never going to be able to have an impact on this portal cycle. And then, truthfully, he was never going to be able to have a portal impact on this cycle, not just because he hadn't been here and he was hired, at the time of that press conference 6 days before, but because they weren't organized financially. So he didn't have the purse strings to say, oh, well, okay, I'll tell you what, we allocate this much for tight ends. This is what you get. He couldn't do that. So you just really can't have this kind of dysfunction. They entered this portal cycle with complete dysfunction.
They were late.
They were very late. And this is the byproduct. These kinds of frustrating moments, this sort of uncertainty, the mass exodus, the inability to truly be in the market for a big-time quarterback. I mean, I think you already hamper yourself by running this Mickey Mouse offense. But, it also hurts that your offense coordinator refuses to recruit. So, there's a lot of things there that are going to hamper you anyhow. But, you didn't have the money to enter that fray.
The funny thing is, just reading the tea leaves, we all know that Deuce Robinson is an expensive player and one that you want, and so he is here. When Danzy, while we were away over the weekend, I think it was Friday, he announced that he was returning. That couldn't have been cheap. And Boggs comes back because his offset language was too punitive, largely, big factor in him returning and coming back from intending to enter the portal. So that's 3 decent-sized costs, and then you went, I think you're pretty aggressive in the high school market, too, with receiver. So an offense that loves to run the ball and take some shots down the field is spending an awful lot of money on receiver. Like, this is where I would hope that a front office person comes in and says, you want to do what with 80 plays a game? Okay, so you want to run you want to run that many times. Well, then this is how much we're going to spend on receiver. You need a stud. They need to honor it, the downfield shot. I don't know that we need to pay 3, 4, and 5 guys crazy amounts of money at receiver, considering your philosophy on offense is, again, let me check the notes here, running first and running a lot.
No, you don't. That's what I brought up last week when we lost Boggs at first. I hated to lose him, or when we were talking about throwing that money for McCoy seemed unreasonable, and I was going, he schemes open to 2 and 3. You just got to have one stud. I mean, I gave him the same credit you like to give him, which is that there are some guys open in this thing, but that's because you have the one stud. And we did that without, by the way, I push back on everybody who says we ran successfully. I don't care what the traditional statistics said we did. You can remove 2 games from the puzzle there. Those 2 games, by the way, make up for a huge number on the ground. And then in addition, against ACC foes, we weren't prolific on the ground at all.
No, well, that's the easiest way to look at it. Just go to the ACC offensive rankings, and we're below average. We're below the Mendoza line.
So they didn't even run the ball all that successfully to set up all the other stuff. Be nice to settle in on a running back. You got 2 good ones now, allegedly. I mean, the kid from Texas was the first big portal splash we made. Who the hell knows why, but that's what we did. Went for a running back. Great. Let's host another one. Let's have 5 more come in.
But I would tell you, if you're going to overpay for a room in this offense, I would rather it be the running back room than the receiver room. It would stand to reason, right?
I'd overpay for 47 offensive linemen.
There's at least one, probably.
My man Shannon Young, he'll get you the rate. He'll get you the loan you need. He'll get you in the house that you want. Better rates, better options, stronger support, faster response. That's Shannon. He's in 7 states, Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Relentless, hardworking, goal-oriented, honest, and really good at his job. Just saw Shannon this week. It was always great to give a fellow Noah a hug, and a guy who has been strong here as an advertiser, but strong with my fellow Noahs out here, getting loans, folks getting houses left and right. I always like getting that email, getting that call, getting that text. Loansforknowles.com if you want to learn more. Loansforknowles.com.
Your local news now.
A former Tallahassee man, Michael Stolzel, was sentenced to 50. Thursday. This is Rachel N.A. with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A freeze watch begins at 11 p.m. tomorrow night and continues until 9 a.m. Friday. Partly cloudy skies this afternoon with highs around 60. Southwesterly winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Slight chance for showers tonight, lows around 38, mainly cloudy skies. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently, it's 53 degrees.
Football season is here, Tallahassee. Are you ready for backyard watch parties, burgers on the grill, and game day glory? Wait, now with those leaves piled up like a linebacker blocking the end zone. Call the Lawn Johns. We'll tackle those falling leaves, clean up your yard, and lay down fresh pine straw or mulch so your lawn looks like a championship field. Don't fumble your fall cleanup. Call the Lawn Johns today, and let's score you the best-looking yard on the block. The Lawn Johns. Your lawn, our game.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood. Oh, good days. So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played. Kind of like the bikes we built. Correct, yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But
And you still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
I didn't mention it, so I should mention it, so here you go. Yeah, I did mention it in passing, but I didn't get into the numbers. Florida State lost the basketball game last night to Syracuse. For those that didn't stay up to the wee hours of the morning to see it, didn't start till late. At least in my old age, anything that starts after 9, it better be football. Better be football or a great movie on a weekend. It can't be our sorry-ass basketball team, I'll tell you that.
No, not unless it's the summer and the sun goes down late, so your body's conditioned to stay up later, and it's either a playoff game in the NHL or the NBA or a nice West Coast game that I'm sure you'll tune into very soon on MLB Network.
I will, and I tuned into last night's basketball game. Despite my griping, I can't help myself. There's a weird voice that screams in my ear when I lay down attempting to go to sleep. I didn't feel well last night, wanted to get much-needed shut-eye. And so it was, I laid my head on the pillow around 9:30, had the game on in the background. I said, if I fall asleep, I fall asleep. And as I was kind of fading in and out, the Noles kept playing well, and my inner voice said, you can't sleep on these boys. They're your boys. They're fighting. Damn right. I took the pillow and I sat it up. I have a wall behind the bed and the big thing on the bed, rack and all that. And I sat up and I was like, okay, well, I'm up. Much to my wife's chagrin. You're going to leave the game on? I am going to leave the game on. Our Knowles. I told her, I said, you're a graduate. You sit up. You watch as I watch. I didn't say anything like that. She said, I'll roll over. Tell me if we win. I said, I will tell you if we win. And I watched, and, we hung in there. And there was a moment when I was very excited and thought, but alas, maybe it'll happen. But when Cuse went on I think it was a 12-2 run, and we were down with about 8 minutes to play, 76-69, it wasn't over. But I did have that fear well up within me because every time teams go on runs against us, a lot of times we kind of stammer, and fall, and you think, oh, well, it's going to be a problem. When we fought back, and it was a 3-point game, and I was, come on, boys. I started to feel it then.
Well, you got it to 4 inside of a minute, and then you forced a wild pass, and it just, of course, comes down in enough space for Syracuse to make another play out of it and get an easy bucket at the rim, and that's all she wrote at the end. But they did a very good job of continuing to battle against those runs that you're speaking of. Start of the second half, middle part of the second half, and then at the end, when you could have packed it in, they got it down to a one-score game, and then you gave yourself a chance for a turnover. And you just have to focus at some points. It feels mean, but say to yourself, well, the coaches are putting these players in these positions. When they get better players that are in the same positions, you'll get better results.
Yeah, and one of the things they did with the lineup that they rolled out there last night was protect the rim better. But, man, that second half, they have too many games like this, and this just might be because they're just simply not good enough. He's still tinkering with things, trying to figure it out, and I like that. I mean, you go down swinging here. They give up runs, and when they do, they're always sizable. And they give up 51 points in the second half last night. You have these halves where you're going, damn it, man. You got to play better defense, but they may not be good enough to do that.
Well, and you consider the start that they had, and it was an excellent start. Yeah, for about 30 to 35 minutes in this game, Syracuse is getting buckets left and right, and they're shooting an astronomical percentage. And a lot of it, again, is in transition. It's off of turnovers. It's fast break points for Syracuse. And that last night, I mean, just they get down the court. It's one pass. Somebody's wide the hell open, and it's a bucket. And some of them were more difficult than others. Steen forced a good, difficult one in the second half from the corner for a three.
I like that kid, man.
That was, okay, you're going to go. I think that was the Betsy kid who made like 7 threes last night, 6 threes. Like, okay, really? You're going to make that shot? Fine. You need more of that, though. There aren't that many moments in transition where you say, well, we forced them to make a shot. No, these things are wide open and in rhythm, and that was the story of last night, I think.
Well, here you go, guys. If you live in Tallahassee and the surrounding areas, and you're listening to this show, watching this show, you may want to saddle up, make your way into town, because this Saturday, you circle it. I mean, I think about big picture trying to win a ACC game. I'd like to win 2. I'd like to win 10. But I'm a realist. I'm pragmatic. I see what we are. Inconsistent, not all that talented, certainly not deep, lacking certain amounts of size for prolonged, it's tough. So when I see a game that's on the schedule and it's at home, at the TLC Double C, where one does not just roll on in expecting to walk out with a victory, I try to rally the troops. Let's whip up the ponies. Let's go. Wake Forest comes to town, 6 o'clock Saturday, TLC Double C. If you don't know, here you go. 10-7, 1-3 in the ACC. Struggle bus for Wake. They're not good. This is our best chance to get a win here early in the ACC schedule. Deeks are, I would say, one of the 5, maybe 6 worst teams in the ACC. They've lost 4 of their last 5 games. It's our time. Saturday's our time, Tom. It's not their time.
I was going to say, is it their time?
It's not their time, Tom. Saturday is our time, 6 o'clock. You and I should be from the Vista or a luxury box something.
I've got my season tickets.
Well, this is the one.
This is the one. I can stroll on over.
Ice cold, tall beers, and a whole lot of cheering.
Maybe a little Hawaiian coffee for the walk over from my place.
Let's see if we can get the boys. To get a win. I'm rallying the troop, Luke. Luke, let's get it done. Got to get a win on Saturday. Hour number 2 forthcoming. Stay with. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
I got some pretty spooky news from my Paul's termite and pest control technician the other day. It turns out that I'm sharing my home with Formosan termites. Those little monsters do damage about 4 times faster than the regular termites. Fortunately, Paul's discovered them on a routine general pest service, and they've already turned the Formosans back using an amazing treatment called Centricon.
Paul's was the first to introduce the Centricon termite colony elimination system to North Florida and is the leader in this non-invasive treatment. Instead of dumping gallons and gallons of harsh chemicals into our soil, Centricon uses environmentally sensitive treatments loaded in bait stations. These stations are placed around the home. Termites are present, they feed, and take it back to the colony, which is then destroyed. To learn more about Centricon and a free consultation, go to callpauls.com for the elimination of termite or any other pest.
And a greener lawn, too.
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. That's MillerSeptic.com.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show, live and local on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT, Greta, Tallahassee. Your Sports Flash update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers continuing to do some work to fill out their coaching staff. They announced they've completed an interview with Mike Kafka to be their next offensive coordinator. He was the Giants' interim coach. Also, Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken. He is set to meet with the Buccaneers today. Moving to basketball, the Orlando Magic off for a couple days. They're going to match up against Memphis on Thursday in Berlin. Yesterday, the Miami Heat, they were recovered to beat the Phoenix Suns 127-121. They had squandered a 20-point lead. Heat back at it on Thursday when they play host to Boston. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Paul.
I don't know if I just got lucky in regards to this endorsement with Harry's razors, but I was obsessed with razors long before Harry's came along because it made me angry that getting a good shave was proving to be quite costly, and it wasn't always a satisfactory endeavor. Like sometimes you'd get a new razor and it would, it would irritate your neck or something. Like it just wasn't right. Anyhow, so I was trying everything for a long time. But then I switched to Harry's, and I have for some time now. And Harry's says, well, hey, would you like to try Harry's? I already do. But I'm going to tell you something right now. So this is just a regular Harry's razor This is the new Harry's Plus that I decided when it came out. Well, I like Harry's. I might as well try the Harry's Plus. And here's the thing. It's not only affordable, but it's a world-class blade made in Germany. And it's there's no outsourcing, no middleman, just so you know. And it's metal. They're not fooling around. Like, this thing is weighty. If you don't think I'm telling the truth, I just bought these Harry's Plus razors. I bought them. They didn't send them to me. Anyhow, I love Harry's, and I would like for you to give it a try. I think you'll see that I'm right here, gentlemen, that this is the best way to shave. It's they're going to tell you about their most advanced razor and all that stuff. I'm just telling you right now, this razor is fantastic. Both of them are. And I use them both for different things. I shave my head with one and my face with the other. It's perfect. For a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/warchant. Set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, which I also use, a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Head to harrys.com/warchant to claim the offer. After you purchase, they'll ask whether or where you heard it from. Please support the Jeff Cameron Show and Warchant. Please support this show and let them know that we sent you. Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Owned and operated radio station in town. That's a good thing and a needed thing for us to survive. So thanks. Appreciate that always. And thanks for watching on Warchant TV. And thanks to all of you who are listening later via the pod, perhaps, however it is you get the show. We just thank you for supporting it. It's grown over the last few years. It's grown every year I've been on the air, but it continues to grow now. So that's good. We've had a little stability over the last couple of years, which has helped a lot. And that support is how that happens. So thanks for doing it. The numbers tell people like, hey, they're doing all right. We can afford to be associated with them. Or we want to be associated with them.
At which point we sit across from them and say, can you
afford to be associated with us, sir?
We'll see.
You'd like to be is the phrase you wanted to say. Or use, perhaps. That's where we sit. Boy, I can't wait for baseball. Saw a baseball question in here. Just checked the chat during the break for the first time in a bit, and I went, oh, that's right. Now, I put the bat siren, or what's it called? The light?
The bat signal?
Signal. Yeah, you know me. I'm not a comic book guy.
You like some of the Batmans, though.
The Christopher Nolan Batmans.
Yeah.
No, and I like the Michael Keaton one from way back in the day. Wasn't that Timothy Burton or
Tim Burton?
Tim Burton.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Danny Elfman on the score.
Yeah, yeah.
Good old Danny had a run there.
Well, he still does. He's rich as heck. That was close.
Hey, just because there's a little dime tap in the system.
Yeah. Anyhow, so I put out the bat signal about the sweatshirt.
About the two hoodies.
I just wanted to see if there was one laying around, and then from there,
Because you're a generous guy.
the second hoodie could be obtained. I could press the issue on that hoodie. Show the fine folks that hoodie. Do you still have it? You should keep. You got to keep that around.
You think I got to download that photo?
Anyhow, that thing is sweet as hell, and all of the pictures yesterday of the team practicing. Oh, it just made me smile because they're going to be good. We will have a more in-depth look at baseball the closer we get to baseball. I promise you. We always do.
We're going to get interviews this year?
Yeah, why would we not?
Because last year we put in requests for months.
Oh, but we got our preseason interviews.
Fair.
We always get our preseason interviews. I mean, that's, I just have to, we get the preseason interviews.
Maybe I went into spam. I don't know.
No, we're all right. This will work out. We're going to be fine. We're going to get the preseason interviews for sure. And then if we need a little something more consistent from there, I have a plan in place for that. And Link likes coming on with us. I mean, preseason, Link likes coming on with us.
Sure. Yeah. And I think if he knew that he could come on with us a little bit more, he would like that too.
But I don't want the first thing that I ask Link to be something not about the team, but rather the gear I'd like him to give us. That's, Tara made the excuse that those are team-issued sweaties and not something that she can get at Garden Gold. I beg to differ.
Wait a minute. If she can't sell them, that's not Garden Gold's problem at that point.
I'm teasing Tara. She knows. If she could get them, she would have us talking about them, and we'd have them at home right now. But I just think we have to work harder. We have to find a way. Because those things would sell like hotcakes. They're gorgeous. They're just gorgeous. But there will be an opportunity. What I think would be fun, Tom, and I'm just going to put this out there, just a bird, I'm going to throw it out into the universe here. What if we had our preseason interviews with Posey and with Link, and you while producing, me while hosting the interview and doing the interview, what if we were also wearing those?
Oh, right.
As a promotional tool for Florida State baseball.
There it is. Consolidation of brand.
Mm-hmm. So wouldn't that be something?
Oh, yeah. I'd love to Pose the Hose would be down for that.
Coach, if you're listening, I think this is where this has to end, where this has to go. You wear yours, I'll wear mine, Tom will wear his, the three of us, the synergy's there, and now we're talking baseball.
Somebody had an idea in the chat earlier this week. They said, what if you could get a box of them, 10, 20, because they're team issued, they're rare to get. But then we did a show in which we auctioned off a bunch of them, and then those auction funds go to, I don't know, the coaches club or something along those lines, right back into baseball.
Yeah.
We could make some good coin for them in that regard.
Yeah, they're a very limited time offer. I mean, that'd be something. You would truly be, imagine you wandering about Hauser wearing one of those when nobody else could. You'd be the envy of all the baseball faithful.
Is that the home plate hoodie? It is.
It's the one of your dreams, but I shall not part.
I think I landed that panhandle accent pretty good.
Let's go, Knowles.
I love the home plate hoodie.
Yeah, it's tough not to, man. So there it is. I've put it out there, Tom. I wanted you to know that I'm efforting. I wanted you to know that I'm trying very, very hard. Did you see? Now, I know next hour we're going to talk about this as it relates to college football. Did you see the Amazon number for the Bears-Packers game?
I did not. That's a tough game to get. I can tell you I was on a resort property, and there were only a couple of bars that had it, so people were frustrated.
41 million.
41 million?
And that's not peak. That's average.
Oh, my God.
So the reason I bring it up,
Holy crap.
well, those are two huge brands. But the reason I bring it up, I said, so did other people, but I brought it to these airwaves 5 years ago. I don't know, whenever the first glimpse of, paywalls, this is going to happen. This is going to be a thing. I talked about the Super Bowl was going to be behind a paywall, that we are moving towards a model where someday everything's a la carte.
I agree. I think in this case, the reason that number was so huge, if it was on Peacock or Netflix, it would not have done nearly the numbers.
No,
but
everybody's
everybody's
seems to
got
have
Prime.
Just about, even if you don't want it. Your wife does,
Right.
so what are you going to do?
I was in a position where you're looking for a bar to watch it. Not all bars go ahead and purchase Prime. That's a big
They need to
pain
get
in
off
the
their
ass.
ass. All of them need to get off their ass.
Well, it's because they get dinged on the corporate side. There's
I
a
know.
commercial rate.
Mm-hmm.
But
wear it.
Most everybody who gets anything shipped to their home for any reason whatsoever has Prime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Boy, Prime will get you too. Like any delivery service will get you, because it's Christmas when you come home and Prime has dropped something off. You're like, ooh, all right, I forgot I ordered that keychain. Just like ridiculousness, and the whole thing is, if you have it all set up on your phone where it's like PayPal or whatever you use, and it remembers you, you're just like, don't mind if I do. Click, and it's ridiculous. They got you.
If you had to choose between the three following keychains that you had to put on your key ring.
Now, I found my long lost keychain that I am elated about.
I'm going with three random objects. One would be a die, as in like one dice, that you roll.
Oh,
a rabbit's foot or a rubber chicken. Which one would you choose? You had to pick one.
Some 1970s.
Right.
So, kids, for those of you that are younger, you have no idea of which the old soul that is Tom Wing and what it is he speaks. He has a lot of older siblings, so he saw this.
I speak 70s.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Like, for whatever reason in the 70s and early 80s, like, grown-ups walked around with a rabbit's foot on their keychain for no effing reason. It was said to be good luck, but come on, it's nonsense. And then in addition, if they didn't have that, they didn't have a rubber chicken necessarily, although I'm sure there was a trend in the 70s where people thought that was hysterical, just like pet rocks and stuff. But the answer, what was the first one?
Just a die, the singular of dice.
Probably because I'm a gambler, it would be a die.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. That would be the signal. You know how when people go to swinger bars or something, like they can wear like a pineapple hat that lets everybody know, we get down. So, I mean, you know how I found that out?
You had a pineapple hat.
I had a pineapple hat.
Yeah,
I still have a pineapple hat. I was doing work for the Nebraska Cornhuskers on the Husker site. And, dude, this is crazy. I'm in the middle of doing an interview, and one of the guys says, "Oh, Jeff, I see you're out there putting it out there." And I'm like,
"That's right.
What the hell are you?"
You were wearing it on the show many times, and there were comments, and you read one. You're like, "Well, I don't get that."
I didn't understand what you people are talking about. Apparently, people knew the pineapple was the universal symbol for being a swinger. I had no idea.
I let it play. I knew what it meant, but because you were so innocent in your response, I was like, "That's better." Well,
you're younger, I guess.
I'm just younger. Yes.
I had no idea. I just thought
it's a running joke in the golf league that if we ever see a pineapple, we're like, "Oh, okay." Oh.
So that's the same as somebody saying 69 and everybody going nice. I had no idea that pineapple represented being a swinger. Let me tell you why I had that pineapple hat. It's random. I love random. I do. The other reason that I had the pineapple hat was pineapples are delicious. I mean, we don't talk enough about it. Pineapples whoop ass.
They really do.
They whoop ass.
Yeah.
Like, they're right up there with blueberries and the orange.
They're superior to the orange. Yes.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
The pineapple could reign supreme in a bracket. So I saw the pineapple hat. I bought the pineapple hat. I thought, it's funny. It's just a random pineapple. I like stuff like that, just arbitrary. And all of a sudden, I'm getting weird looks doing as a guest on people's shows while I'm wearing my pineapple hat. And they're like, Cameron's throwing out the clarion call. And I had no idea. It took me like a year to figure out what the hell everybody was talking about with the pineapple.
You should have put block letters behind you in that case. Just say free, FREE.
So, yeah, I can't imagine.
Free.
Like, if I ever, who knows how many times, seriously, who knows how many times I walked into a restaurant or a bar, or if my wife and I were on vacation at like a beach bar and I'm wearing my pineapple hat, people are like, all right,
I'm telling you.
we've got some players out here. Look who just walked in.
It was more than 0 times because you're also the guy who goes solo to the bar to order food.
Oh, all the time.
And so I'm sure strangers are thinking, he's just seeing if anybody's going to sit next to him.
Anybody want to come home with me? Holy moly, I had never thought about it.
You got any memories that are coming together now of somebody strange just sitting next to you and be like, hi.
Like, oh, hey.
I'm just watching the game.
And I'm purposely like scratching my face with my ring finger. So I'm like, what are you? And that's supposed to be a signal, leave me alone. And instead it's like, oh,
you didn't have the pineapple.
Don't you worry. I know, honey.
You weren't sporting that hat in Chicago when you met the scientist, were you?
I was not wearing that hat in a very upscale restaurant and bar. That would have been a weird time to have my pineapple cap on. But I didn't know it. I'm that kind of naive. For all the things I'm not naive about, that kind of stuff, the kinky, crazy stuff, I had no idea about. You're right. I can't imagine how many times I sat down and somebody's like, like some guy's across the bar with his lady friend, and he's I see you.
On some of these live chats, we're like, nice hat, Joe. Like, thanks, man. Appreciate it, brother.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks. No, they're like, no, nice hat. Right. I like pineapples. That's like when I was down in Tampa that time in Ybor, and that guy asked me if I'd ever been to Kentucky. And my buddy was cracking up laughing, standing next to me. And I was like, oh, yeah, I've been to Kentucky. And he's like, really? What is that? Like,
why is that so hard to believe?
Yeah, Kentucky? I mean, I've been to a lot of states, but you've been to Kentucky. Oh, yeah. There's no way to recover from that opener. I'll get to the sports momentarily. Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Tired of calling 1-800 numbers just to get put on hold? Flush those numbers down the drain and call Terry West Plumbing and Septic Services, now offering Terry's Toilets, providing clean, reliable porta potties for any job site, special event, or backyard party. Real local people doing real work. No robots, no AI, no call centers. For all your septic services and portable restroom needs, one local call wipes away the competition. Call 850-510-8558. That's 510-8558. Or visit terrywestplumbing.com. When you call, we answer.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
You probably already know that Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas is your one-stop destination for all pool maintenance needs, offering everything you need from chemicals, cleaners, vacuums, nets, and more. But that's not all. Pinch a Penny also carries a huge selection of premium hot springs hot tubs paired with easy financing options, making these luxury hot tubs affordable for everyone. And if you have an older hot tub and you're worried about the hassle of removing it, worry no more. Pinch a Penny will not only remove and haul away your old hot tub, but also offer a trade-in value for a credit towards your new one. So why wait? Visit Pinch a Penny's 12,000 square foot showroom today on Greer Road and discover how effortless and affordable owning a fantastic hot tub can be. Find out more at TallahasseeHotSpring.com. That's TallahasseeHotSpring.com.
This time of year, we enjoy spending time outdoors in this beautiful North Florida climate until a mosquito attack begins.
Falls Termite and Pest Control can help you take your yard back. We have an affordable program to help keep mosquitoes away, and our program even helps with other pests like ticks.
Mosquitoes are a nuisance to you, and by carrying diseases such as heartworms, they can be harmful to your pets.
Learn more about how Paws can help protect you, your family, and your pets from mosquitoes. For the elimination of termites, pests like mosquitoes,
and a greener lawn too,
call Paws. We'll get them all.
Do you want to take your yard back by having a green and pest-free lawn?
At Paws, we understand the unique needs of your North Florida lawn, which is why we developed a program to address those concerns.
Our treatment program includes inspection, treatment, and education on best practices for optimized results while remaining environmentally conscious. An added benefit is that our lawn treatment is flea suppression, so having a greener lawn can help protect your pets too. For a greener lawn and the elimination of fleas too,
Call Paul's. We'll get them all.
Go custom with your window coverings with help from Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Budget Blinds brings their showroom to your home with dozens of color and pattern choices. Just tell them what you love and they'll make it happen. From designing custom draperies and Roman shades to color matching your blinds and shutters.
I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds Tallahassee, where you get beautiful style and expert service for any budget. Call 668-4835 for a free consultation online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, I see somebody in the chat, in addition to all the pineapple talk, noted that this lineup and how it projects from a power standpoint. Here's the thing. Like, I'm not concerned, and I haven't been for a while, about the offense. Listen, I wanted another bat, sure, and they've done some moving and shaking, but I want to know that we're not going to watch a bullpen blow games again. We're not going to be in a position where in the postseason you hold your breath because the arms you're rolling out there are not effective and or bountiful, because these guys get hurt all the time. And pitchers are always effing hurt, and they signed a lot of arms. Now, that's partly because they whiffed on a couple of bats they wanted. So they had the money. But, look, you can win a lot of ways, and there's more than enough power on this team. So go get the arms and throw numbers at the problem. Obviously, you're wanting quality arms. They went out and got a lot of arms. They should remedy the bullpen situation.
Hopefully so. I would just caution that early season returns do not necessarily beget full season trends. Last year, we loved the bullpen early. We heard about the bullpen, how many arms, too many arms is what they said.
They ended up having some injury issues as well.
And a whole lot of dudes that didn't live up to the billing as well. And the injury issues on the front end, too, with the rotation didn't help with the entire equation about slotting arms and slotting guys into primary setup or closers roles. But they want to do closer by committee, all these things. It reminds me of the annual defensive backroom talk. Hey, the defensive backs are going to be good this day. You know what? Let's wait and see. They did bring in a lot of arms. This is true. Let's see if a lot of those guys pan out. The thing that I found interesting that Link Jarrett said in his press conference on Monday was regarding defense, middle infield defense, and a catcher. Link loves slotting guys to play specific defensive positions that he's thinking about outside solutions for the middle infield has me a little bit concerned. We'll see. I think that's about getting apt defenders who can also hit into the lineup. I think they do have some late inning defensive replacements, but hey, man, you got to be able to get to the late innings with a win by playing good defense. So I'll be interested to see. It can't possibly be as good as last year's was, though. That would be an unfair thing to ask to be replicated.
Well, it was unreal. It was damn near professional. I mean, it was borderline professional defensively up the middle. Remember that? We would talk about it. You and I talk about that. Oh, you see this on a nightly basis in MLB.
The sport in general has taken a leap in two ways, defense and then also stuff from pitchers. But for us, defensively last year, it was unbelievable. Some of the double plays we turned, some of the ground balls that we got to that prevented a run from scoring, advancing just one base instead of two. All those little things add up over the course of 27 outs.
Yeah, Lodis and, I mean, those guys, we had a blast watching them play defense. Because for a long time, college baseball, you know, you couldn't really rely on all that much. But now, you know, Link's mindset is important to how you construct the team. So you're going to get a modicum of solid defensive play, I think, almost every year, certainly while he's here. And he declared it from year one when they struggled so bad, I mean, that was something he knew was going to happen because he came in and they didn't have any pitching and they got their, I almost said blank slit, but they got,
Well, he also didn't know where guys were going to play. He's like, we got a bunch of guys that can do a few things, but nobody that can do something really specifically well. And he wants to recruit specialists defensively. And he was right that year to warn everybody about how defensively they're going to be missing some things. That's why I'm listening to Link from year one. I'm hearing Link from year one just a little bit as it relates to middle infield defense this season.
He likes to message, though, and remember, and he'll overemphasize certain things for the purposes of sending message to his team, too. So that's always fun. I feel good. I'm going to know more in the next week or so. We all will. They're practicing now. We start getting reports on who looks good, who doesn't, who's perhaps a surprise. Because a lot of times those things have happened where you've heard good things about a player only to find out not ready yet once the lights come on and it's live pitching and it's all. And other times you hear, keep a close eye on so-and-so. They're emerging as maybe somebody that, and next thing you know, they're the very real deal. We've seen that really with every team, but we've seen that a lot with Link so far. There's been a player or two that he has the suspicion about in a good way, and then it happens. And then there's somebody that they're hopeful about, and you hear good things, and then they never materialize. So I have a hard time getting a gauge on that just yet.
I'll tell you the one great thing about this season you don't have to worry about. Hey, is Cam Leiter going to be? Oh, buddy.
God, wasn't that the worst? It's like talking about the damn portal.
And Link hated every second, every question that came throughout the year about.
You know why? It's a terrible tightrope to have to walk.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to sneeze. You can talk about hockey.
Oh, I could talk about hockey because the Tampa Bay Lightning have won 11 games in a row, everybody. It's a franchise record.
And I'm back.
Only sees them a few points ahead in the standings in their division.
Good job getting that in there. Lightning have won 11 straight, and I've enjoyed watching that. Back to the point. Boy, baseball has been this way for as long as I can remember. I'll go back. I'll give you a story. Carl Jernigan hurt himself on a play up against the wall in the outfield. Carl Jernigan was in his final year with an opportunity to play Major League Baseball. And I remember fishing around, asking questions about the nature of that injury. And it's when I first learned, like, hey, man, we don't do that. We're not going to ruin somebody's chances by talking about a lingering issue, especially one they can play through. So let's just let that go. You don't need to report that. And it was funny because you weigh the options on something like that. Is it something that you go to the table with about a midweek game that, like, well, I don't know if Carl's going to play because of this, this, and this, and then lose access to anything else that you may have gotten down the line? There has to be a trust with baseball because lingering injuries are really a problem. Like, it's weird how that's not necessarily true in football. Because in football, if you've got an injury that prohibits you from playing, that's more common.
It is. I think what's important in that situation is if you get the intel, it's to pay attention to how the coach messages about it. Let's just say he's the Friday night guy. Maybe in the Friday press conference after week 2 of performance struggling a little bit and lagging behind, the coach says in the presser that, well, if you guys knew what he had to battle through and go through in terms of treatment, I think you'd assess his performance a little bit differently. We're thrilled with what we're getting out of him, considering the things he's going through. It's at that point the window's open.
Oh, yeah.
No. So now the coach has said, and he's giving you, and
he's letting you know.
That's the tightrope to walk to support the player because they don't want a scout to roll in here and say, well, this guy sucks.
Yeah, he's getting blown up. Yeah.
Oh, you want to be able to message that appropriately so that the next community understands that, hey, this is a qualified performance you're seeing. This isn't something that's just him firing on all cylinders.
And here's where it gets even harder because you always want to be a place that is open for business. The teams are much smaller. You're trying to attract the best arms. You sell somebody down the river, even if you're pissed with the action that they're taking. They're held out for longer than you would have held them out. They're capable of going, but they want to wait a little bit longer. Their handlers want them to wait a little bit longer. Hey, there are millions of dollars at stake here. We're not going to pitch them in a random game to, in an ACC regular season game. Let's hold out a little longer. Well, we kind of need him. I'm not so sure he's hurt anymore. Maybe, but we'd like to wait a little bit longer. Boy, that's a tough juxtaposition, man. That is tough. And then you as a coach are going to get asked about this. Well, you told us at the beginning of this timeline that it was this long, and now we're dragging this out for 3 weeks longer. Is he going to be back at all? Well, we certainly think so. The hell is that? And that's that situation in a nutshell. That was ugly.
Yeah, and a lot of times handlers circle back around and they've got the next wave of kids and the next wave of kids, and so
Correct.
you can't piss them off. Yeah, but the hard part is in these times that kid, who be it a position player or a pitcher, could be making hundreds of thousands of dollars now in college, and so therefore the pressure point, while it's minuscule compared to the major leagues if they get drafted, understood, it's not nothing. It's not scholarship and tuition and a couple of meals each week. This is real money. And so there are expectations that come with real money.
Well, I talked about this a lot in the era that we're in now, where all players are paid, and to varying degrees. And that's fine. You want to put yourself in a position to make a lot of money. Just understand what comes with that. Hey, listen, every coach, and I'll just use FSU specific, but it's true everywhere. Every coach will preach to their team. I don't care if it's the soccer team, the tennis team, the golf team, baseball team, football team, that you don't get the benefits of being a collegiate athlete at FSU without there being some cost. And that is that any room you walk into, you're going to be immediately gazed upon and assessed and watched, and in some cases filmed. So you have to be careful. That comes with the territory of being a player at FSU in any sport. Now, you know what else you get? These days, paid, as well as really cool stuff and opportunities that others would dream of. And that I'm talking about travel and introductions to, celebrity, all the stuff, the food, everything. So you just got to remember that that's the balance. That's what you're dealing with. Now, you hear coaches these days say a lot of things about you wouldn't understand the pressure these kids are under. Yeah, maybe not. But I'm also not losing sleep over the fact that a kid was booed because he was, 1 for 14 from the field and he's being paid $2.3 million to knock down those shots. That's akin to pro sports. It's what happens. You don't get the protection that you used to get. You used to get the protection, and you can't boo these kids. They're amateurs. Most of them are going to go on to become accountants or something other than professional athletes. And you're booing a kid who's playing his ass off and sacrificing. Yeah, he's got a scholarship, but he's not paid. He's not a pro. He's not the guy out there making $18 million a season who's kind of going through the motions. You want to throw a boo at him because you paid for the ticket? By all means, do so. Now you're eligible to have that wave of boos rain down upon you. I mean, look, I think there were moments this year where a couple of the high-priced quarterbacks, including Carson Beck, after poor performances, heard a smattering of boos. Heard people, as they jogged off the field with a less than electric half of, 9 of 22 for a $107 and an interception in a game that's tied in which you're favored by 30. It's going to happen. That's the very real pressure, but it's offset. That's what the money's for. You deal with that. If you're Carson Beck, you laugh it off and say, well, I'm making $4 million this year, and I got to live in a mansion. I'm doing all right. Not that money's everything, but it helps.
Yes. It puts you in an ivory tower, so to speak. And that's the other thing about the campus lifestyle itself. Like interacting with the players, they'd be in your dorm rooms. They'd be a floor over.
Oh, and the connection was different back then. Yeah. The connection of the kid that you sat next to take the test or go through the class. I don't know how much that's
now. Many of them live downtown. They're not on the penthouse floor like yours truly, but some of them live in my building. I'm like, oh, okay, I see you. Very different existence. They're with grad students, people who are getting their law degrees, lobbyists from downtown, and Florida State football players. It's very different. I was with the Florida State football players at Seminole Oaks 20 years ago when I was at North 212 in Seminole Oaks, the old Cash Hall.
Rolling over to Burt Reynolds. What's up, boys?
Made by the same people, I can tell you that, because the quality of it was...
The quality was shaky. It's Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Your local news now.
Governor Ron DeSantis announced significant statewide insurance rate relief for Florida homeowners, with Citizens property insurance policyholders across the state set to see meaningful premium reductions beginning in spring 2026 at policy renewal. Under the approved rates, the vast majority of Citizens policyholders statewide will receive a premium decrease with a statewide average reduction of 8.7%. Over 330,000 policyholders across all 67 counties will see rate decreases, and more than 150,000 and policyholders will receive reductions of 10% or greater. The reforms addressed a market near collapse. As of January 2025, Citizens' policies in force declined to 395,144, representing a 50% reduction from the previous year and the lowest level in 14 years. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 Local News Update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at macklemoresystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. A freeze watch begins at 11 p.m. tomorrow night and continues until 9 a.m. Friday. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 59. Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Lows around 38 tonight, mainly cloudy. This report is brought to you by the Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Currently 57.
Craving something different? Discover the bold and surprising flavors of Peru at Café de Martín. From sizzling lomo saltado to savory handmade empanadas, every dish is made with heart, history, and soul. Crafted by classically trained Chef Martín himself. It's not just food. It's a trip to Peru without the plane ticket. Swing by Café de Martín today and taste the tradition. Café de Martín. Authentic Peruvian. Right around the corner.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy? I was just thinking, I never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Oh, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct, yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But
And
they
you
don't
still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Yeah, I mentioned it, or I saw it. I'm answering it now. There you go. The answer to the question regarding the golf, the time for those lineups are going to be next hour. I will be getting after it again this year. Big Daddy J's here for you. Had a very successful year with the PGA Tour, and it gets started again tomorrow. And for that, I am thankful and pumped. Let's go. That's the tournament we should go together with, Tom. You and I should roll into Hawaii and watch that sucker.
Hot damn. Big Daddy's done it again. Mm-hmm. Hoping so. Just need a flyer on an outright to set the tone for the rest of the year. You got bank to play with at that point.
You had your Jaeger bomb either last year or the year
2
before.
years ago, Jaeger won outright, and he held off Scotty Scheffler to do it, and that was bank. Hot damn. Big Daddy's done it again. Now, that turned into a very lucrative season because at that point you could afford to take chances. You'd cashed in your chips on an outright, and when that outright, Steven Jaeger, you're doing all right. Because at that time, nobody was on the Jaeger. I was like, look at my man Jaeger.
How you feeling about Tor Bjornsson this year as a sleeper?
I haven't any feelings about him.
Okay.
I have not laid out yet my sleepers for the season. I got a couple guys I'm keeping a close eye on. 2 fingers to mine, 2 fingers back to you. There's a couple of rookies that I go, ooh, got a little something to you, do you? So there's a couple. I'll start floating a little pizza money their way, see how they adapt. Big difference playing on the Korn Ferry and playing on the PGA Tour. Guys, find that out.
And here's Michael O'Toole. 2 putts for the win.
You're like, oh, come on.
Hot damn. Big Daddy's done it again.
Jags and Knowles, the people who run this program are an embarrassment to fans and alumni alike. Woo! Makes me feel ashamed of being an alum. Sad as hell, man. Go Knowles. Oh, hang on, Jags and Knowles. Hang on. Don't be ashamed to be an alum. Just be mad as an alum. but also know that I think they're forced into fixing and dealing with the things that they should have already dealt with by now because of the way this played out. So now you try to turn the corner and see how quickly this thing can get rectified. It won't be this upcoming year in all likelihood. And I have two different ways of viewing the future of the program. One is, how long does it take you to get out from under this mess? Whether you deem that irresponsible spending on facilities when a big portion of that should have gone towards NIL and personnel and roster spending, taking on too big a project simultaneously seems, in retrospect, perhaps ill-fated. At the same time, there are many others who would say, no, they had to do that. They had to do this. They were woefully behind. At some point, those facilities will pay dividends. It does matter. There's nuance to the debate. It's not black and white. Got all of that. You can get into many other aspects of what they did or did not do. There were some swings and misses that did dearly cost them, and I have illuminated those many days. I am ready for the fixing. Now, the fixing can't start right away because now you have to accrue funds. You have to have a different attitude towards NIL. You have to look forward, not behind you, and figure out the best way to accomplish that. I'm not so sure they're on the right path even yet, and I don't know that they will be until they get a couple of other things worked out. But this portal cycle, because of the mistakes that were made, was always going to be a hindrance, was always going to be problematic. That doesn't change today, and it doesn't change tomorrow. That changes the next cycle. That changes this next season, not from 5 wins to 12, but from progress or perhaps a moment that culminates with a transition, meaning people get fired. And then you're free from that situation, and, hopefully you're preparing for the other.
What the next week or so will hold, though, is a real clear indicator of what you can expect from the defense, what personnel you have. Offensively, you might not agree with the changes they made or the names they brought in or retained or whatever, but you know who they are. You know who the players are, quite literally, on the offense at this point in the portal process. For the defense, there's so much that's up in the air. Kevin Wynn comes back today. Good news. Absolutely. You're better for having him than if he had walked out the door. The Desirs, linebacker position, 2 major question marks that are going to be heavily influenced by whatever happens with the Desirs in the next day or two, because you will have significant money to move around if they both depart. But you've got to fill out that front 6/front 7, depending upon how Tony White wants to roll it out there this year. You got enough names at defensive back now that can compete. That's the same thing as the offense, where it's kind of settled with the people that have returned and the new names that have come in, just a matter of where these players are going to slot. That front and that linebacker level, humongous questions. And now specialists, too. I mean, who's going to kick for you? Who's going to punt for you?
So there you go. There's that.
Kick specifically. We got a punter, but yeah.
Let's do this, though. Let's celebrate something that's been a long time coming. The release is out, and the celebration is real. He is one of my 3 favorite players of all time. He is somebody that I had a wonderful interview with before the start of the season. It's something maybe we should repost at some point now that it's happened. I think my discussion with the great Peter Warrick, for those that missed it, preseason, was one of my favorites. Pete's the real deal. Pete's a real one. Pete's a guy that you can have a conversation with, and a guy who not only accomplished what he did and was the player that he was, but as humble as anybody who's ever been in that position. Bold, brash, all those things as a player. To talk to him now, as humble as one could be. Frankly, it's akin to Charlie Ward's humbleness, and Peter's, lesser known. He wasn't a Heisman winner, would have been, should have been, especially if we look through the lens of today and what he was castigated for. But I have long maintained that there are about a handful of guys that kind of anybody around the country would name if they were forced to ask, if you asked them, name the players that you think of. Probably anybody over the age of, say, 35, right? Name the players that you think of that make up the greatness that is Florida State. A younger person might say Jameis Winston because they just saw him win a Heisman in an undefeated season and go number 1 overall in the NFL draft, and he's a big personality and all those things. But for people anywhere between the ages of, say, 30 and 60 or 35 and 60, obviously Charlie Ward is on that Mount Rushmore. Warrick done is for most people, but Peter Warrick is for certain. Derek Brooks, you can keep going. You know, for me personally on the show, Marvin Jones is my favorite player to ever play at Florida State. I would probably tell you my second favorite player to ever play at Florida State is Peter Warrick, now that I'm talking out loud about it. Why do I say that? Florida State All-American Peter Warrick, wide receiver, is joining the College Football Hall of Fame in December. Selected for induction today by the National Football Foundation, Warrick will be FSU's 12th Hall of Fame inductee. That is awesome. Congratulations to Peter Warrick, who, by the way, along with Chris Winkie, and I was very fortunate at the time as I broke into this business and began hosting a full-time morning show at 1270 AM WNLS, was one of my first interviews. Peter Warrick was one of the first people that I talked to, and I nervously did so because I thought he was larger than life, great, and he was. And even then, 99, that year, national championship, all of it, the catch in the Sugar Bowl, Virginia Tech, all of it. Peter was humble and kind and gave time, and I was a nobody. And he was that way to almost everybody I've ever talked to about the man. It always comes up. For those that don't know, and the purposes of clarity, here you go. Warrick played at Florida State from 96 to 99 after redshirting in 1995. Imagine redshirting Peter Warrick now. It never happened. A 2-time consensus All-American during his career, Warrick still holds the FSU record with 32 career receiving touchdowns. His 3,517 career receiving yards were the most in ACC history and ranked second on FSU's all-time list. And Warrick also ranked second in program history with 207 receptions, 15 100-yard receiving games, and an average of 4.81 receptions per game. The Bradenton, Florida native was inducted into the FSU Athletics Hall of Fame back in 2010, had his jersey retired by FSU in 2018, we remember that well, and was a member of the ACC's 50th anniversary team in 2002. Obviously, we all know him as one of the most electrifying players in the history of college football. Warrick helped lead the Noles to a 45-4 record and the 1999 national championship in his FSU career. Named MVP of the national title game, that game, aforementioned Sugar Bowl against Virginia Tech, 46-29. I'm still drunk from that game. I'm still recovering from that night. After catching 6 passes for 163 yards and 2 touchdowns, have yourself a day, Pete. While adding another score on a 59-yard punt return. Again, imagine this. Think about it again. Crystallize it in your mind. It's the national championship game, and you go out for 6 and 163, 2 tutties, and a 59-yard touchdown return. Stars show up bright when it's the biggest moments in time, and man, that guy did on the regular. His performance helped the 99 team become the only team in college football history at that time to go wire to wire as the number 1 team in the nation. Warrick joins his former head coach Bobby Bowden, teammate Warrick Dunn, in the College Football Hall of Fame. FSU's other inductees we know: Marvin Jones, Terrell Buckley, Derek Brooks, Deion Sanders, the great Ron Simmons, Charlie Ward, head coach Daryl Mudra, Fred Biletnikoff, for whom the award is named, and Ron Sellers. To be eligible for the College Football Hall of Fame, players must have received first-team All-American recognition, be 10 years removed from their final college football season, and have completed their professional football career. The evaluation also includes candidates' records as a citizen and academic honors. The 68th, for those that would like to go, I think I would, NFF Annual Awards Dinner and Hall of Fame induction ceremony will be held December the 8th, 2026 at the Bellagio Resort and Casino in Las Vegas, baby. Let's go. The NFF will recognize Warrick during a game at Doak Campbell Stadium this upcoming year. Let's try not to suck that day, guys. Let's try to win a football game while my man Peter Warrick is being honored. Because has anybody been more supportive of this program post his playing days on the sideline with the gray hair and beard, cheering on everybody who comes through that tunnel, no matter the status of the team or the player? It's Peter Warrick all the time. And I must tell you, Peter Warrick's pro career had a chance to be prolific, if not for a terrible knee injury that was mishandled by the Cincinnati Bengal organization, in which he was begged to come back and play while rehabbing through surgery before he was ready. The Bengals, just a game out of playoff consideration, or having a spot, I should say, he was asked to come back and play. He did, re-injured it. It got infected. He was never the same afterwards. Ends up his career in Seattle. Pete would have played for a very long time, was a really, really excellent player and teammate. Congratulations, Peter Warrick, named to the College Football Hall of Fame. That is awesome. Good for Pete.
One of the things that I learned from the interview, I remember watching him, I was only, 11, 12, 13 years old when he was at his best. Of course, he made standout plays, lots of them. Every game, there was at least one thing that Peter Warrick did, at least one, where you just couldn't believe what you saw with your own eyes. But you would think, applying today's logic back to 1999, that would mean that he was targeted left and right. But that just wasn't the case. He has umpteen 100-yard games in a Florida State football uniform, but he only averaged 4.8 catches per game. He spoke about that in the interview that you did with him during Miami Week this year, where it's not like I was getting 9, 10 catches a game.
Right.
I'd get 4 or 5 touches, but I'd make the most out of those 4 or 5 touches, and one of those was going to be explosive. And, of course, also in that era, there are many games in which by the time he did his damage in the first half, he didn't need to be out there again.
That is correct.
In the second half, or else that ACC record number of 3,000 and change receiving yards would be 5,500 if he had to play more than just a couple of quarters every week.
Yeah, man, I just can't say enough. That guy, just so electrifying. I mean, you couldn't wait to get into, I'll be honest, specifically, like I couldn't wait to get into Doak Campbell in those days. And I always loved it, obviously, going all the way back to the years when I was just a child going with my father, 79, 80, 81, starting out then. But like going into the stadium back when Pete played 96 through 99, you just knew, like we would talk about it. Me and my buddies would talk about it while tailgating. Like, you can't wait. What do you see Pete does to these folks today? And if there was a DB, God help him. If there was an elite DB, I'm like, ooh, buddy, you're cooked. You got no shot at covering Pete. That stop-start misdirection back to full speed was unbelievable.
The closest thing that I can recall to that from a non-quarterback, because with Jameis, you always went into that building expecting something. And
sure.
Only the Florida game in his second season was a dud. The rest of them were all phenomenal performances.
There's a lot going on.
You can understand. There's a lot of noise in the system. 2015 and Dalvin. The 2015 season with Dalvin Cook. Once you realized early in the season that, okay, this guy who helped put us over the top to get us to the Rose Bowl to play Oregon, and if he hadn't fumbled a bunch that day, would have ran for 400 yards, that this was no fluke. That even when he's the guy that everybody keys on, he still does these things. Specifically, there's the Louisville kick, which I believe was a nooner that year, which was absurd, but it was the Miami game. It was the home game against Miami with Everett Golson and the toss pitch. But he hurt his hammy once or twice in that game, and yet he was unbelievable. You expected touchdowns, and he delivered touchdowns. And I like in that brief time in the history of the field management that you would kick up the sand on the field. Because it showed you how fast and explosive this guy was moving, because there's just these giant piles of sand that he's kicking up as he's going from 0 to 60. It was something to behold.
Yeah, he was sick, man. There are so many Peter Warrick moments that I just relish and love, and I always think, and it's fun because if you talk to Pete, Pete has this ability. This is where I compliment him. I've had the good fortune of talking to a lot of big-time athletes. The job has afforded me that. Obviously, a lot of huge all-time greats for Florida State, but even professional athletes and like, not everybody has this quality, and it's a hard thing to have. You have to be a very genuine and authentic person. You have to have this way about you and this understanding of what a fan, the way a fan feels about you, and how you touch them and how you matter to them. And I think it's hard because you're not them. You're the man. You're the person. You're the reason that they're so excited. They're living vicariously through you. They could never do what you do. Most people can't. That's why you're you. That's why you're so uniquely gifted. And you've been told that from the time you're a little kid, because none of these guys just wake up one day and are great. They were great early. They were awesome in high school. They were two-way players. They were the best this, and this at whatever sport they played. And so that is the adulation that they got their whole life. So when you do run across an incredibly humble individual who has done preternatural things, and they make you feel good about your fandom, not lesser than, but part of the celebration of their gifts and their achievements, it is a very rare thing. And Peter Warrick does that to fans. I've watched him do it. When he comes up when we're at Hotel Indigo, he's come up numerous times. Well, he knows the second he walks out there on that rooftop, that's a small area. He's effing Peter Warrick. The 25, 45 people that are standing out there are going to go talk to Peter Warrick, and he's totally great with it all. And he smiles when they remember moments, and he gives them anecdotes about those moments. Here's what I was thinking before that. You know, the play before you may not remember. I dropped that pass. He's humble that way. He's hilarious, and he loves it. He loves their adoration, and he cares about the people. Congratulations, Peter Warrick. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with.